Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be going over the all-new 2023 GMC Canyon. First and foremost though, before we get into the video, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into the details. So I already made a video talking about the 2023 Chevy Colorado, which is the GMC Canyon sibling vehicle. And so now we got to talk about the changes that are going to be happening for the Canyon. First off, we're going to start with the exterior of the truck. Then we're going to get into some of the capabilities. Then we're going to get into the powertrain. And then we're going to cap things off by going over the interior and then pricing and my thoughts on the truck as well. And so with that being said, starting with the exterior of the truck, if we actually start things off with the rear of the truck, I guess we'll do things backwards in today's video. It's still going to look like a truck from a rear end perspective. So you're still going to have a truck bed. It's still going to have like a squared off tailgate area, right? But we're finally going to get LED lights in the rear of the truck. Now, we're not sure if they're going to be standard across the lineup with the Canyon or if they're going to be basically an option on higher end packages, or you just have to get a higher end package to get it. Time will tell on that. But moving on from the taillights to the capabilities of the truck from a rear end perspective, while we are there, it's probably going to have slightly more payload capacity than the current Canyon, but it's not going to be like a huge move forward. If you look at the Chevy Silverado, for example, it didn't really improve in terms of payload when they went to the new version. They just made a lot of changes to the styling and to the interior. So similar thing with the Canyon, but we might get more payload with the truck. Again, we'll have to just wait a little bit longer to see if we get more details on that. And then sticking to the back still from a suspension standpoint, they're just going to stick with leaf springs. They're not going to go for a multi-link system. It seems like GM is just staying away from that for the time being, which is kind of sad in my personal opinion, but that's just what is happening. Now, if we go to the side of the truck, this is actually the area that's going to stay the most similar to the previous version of the Canyon. There are going to be some slight tweaks and everything to the side of the truck, but it looks like it's mostly going to stay the same stylistically. Most of the changes are going to happen to the front and the rear of the truck. Again, similar to the Chevy Silverado, basically, when they redid the Silverado for the 2022 model year, and also the GMC Sierra as well, frankly. And then if we move over to the front of the truck, this is where things are going to change the most stylistically. So there's kind of two different camps right now. One camp thinks that we're just going to have regular headlights and all that. But there's another camp that thinks that GM is actually going to do their weird split light styling. So similar to what you have on like the Blazer, for example, where you've got the daytime running light that is separated from the headlight itself. So it's kind of like this weird separate cluster thing. They might do that with the new Canyon. We're not sure at this point, but that definitely might happen. And so we'll just have to see on that, which hopefully they just do traditional lights, because I'm personally not a fan of the whole split light setup. And then all new grille, all of that is going to completely change. And, you know, that's pretty much everything for the exterior from that perspective. Now, from a package perspective, while we're still on the exterior of the truck and some of the capabilities of the truck, there is going to be a new package added for the 2023 model year. So we're still going to have stuff like the Denali and the AT4, for example, which are both very popular on the current generation Canyon. But we're also going to get an AT4X package finally, which is just going to mirror the Colorado ZR2. So for this new generation, it's going to have even bigger tires than what the current Colorado ZR2 has. So 33-inch tall tires, which is crazy for a mid-size truck. Still going to have the multi-matic shocks, but again, still going to use leaf spring technology in the rear, independent front suspension. You're going to have front and rear lockers just like the current generation Colorado ZR2. And it's just going to be an insanely capable mid-sized truck, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure that they're actually going to sell quite a few, but they're probably still going to have a price disparity between this and the ZR2, and we'll kind of talk about that at the end of the video, which might sway more people to buy the Chevy. But if we move from that to the powertrain of the truck, then what we're going to have with the new generation is the turbocharged 2.7 liter four-cylinder that is currently in the Silverado. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and that is going to be the powertrain that's pretty much going to go across the lineup. There is another camp that thinks that they're still going to keep the V6, the naturally aspirated V6 as like the base engine, and this will be the upgraded engine. There definitely is a chance for that, but that is not really guaranteed. And so we'll kind of, again, once we get more details, we'll see what happens from a powertrain perspective, but we're for sure going to get the turbocharged 2.7 liter four-cylinder, which, you know, with the new AT4X package would be tons of fun with a mid-sized truck, right? Having over 300 horsepower and over 400 pound-feet of torque in a mid-sized truck is very, very solid. And then in terms of the interior, this is going to have a lot of the same interior changes as to what you've seen with the new Silverado and the new GMC Sierra. So you're going to have upgraded seats. They're going to make the door panels front and rear equal in terms of the material use on them, so they both look nice. Bigger infotainment system, digital gauge cluster for the higher end packages. The lower down packages will still have a mostly analog gauge cluster, heads up display as well. It'll also have the new camera mirror technology on top of that, power sliding window. It doesn't seem like they're going to go for a panoramic sunroof, still just like a little sunroof as an option. I don't know if they're ever going to do full panoramic sunroofs in mid-sized trucks. I just don't think that people really want that with that particular segment of truck. But basically, if you guys have seen the new GMC Sierra interior, that's going to be kind of like shrunk down and put into the Canyon. It won't have as nice of materials as what you see in the higher end packages with the Sierra, because this ultimately is a less expensive vehicle, but it's going to be somewhat on par with it. And so that should be pretty exciting to see overall. And so yeah, this truck's stacking up to be really solid in the mid-sized truck segment, from the powertrain to the interior and exterior changes. Now, the last thing we need to talk about is pricing with this new truck. So currently, a fully loaded Canyon is kind of in that like high 40s range. And just like the new Silverado and the new Sierra, this is going to have quite a bit of a price bump. And this isn't just because it's a new generation. It's just because vehicles in general have bumped up in price over the last couple of years because of all of the supply issues and inflationary pressures as well. And that was weird. I completely dragged that word on for too long. But anyways, I would expect the Denali to probably be a low $50,000 truck now for the Canyon. And then the AT4, similar in terms of the price range, and then the AT4X might be a $60,000 mid-size truck. Again, we will see once more details are released, but it's definitely going to be quite a bit more expensive than the current generation Canyon. And the starting price is going to be a little bit more money. And so that's where I think that some people might be pushed to go and buy the Chevy, because I still think they're going to have that kind of like price discrepancy between the two brands, where, because, you know, GMC is technically a more quote-unquote premium brand, and so for the ZR2 Colorado, it's probably going to be a couple thousand, maybe even $5,000 less expensive than the AT4X, just like what they have with the Silverado ZR2 and the GMC Sierra AT4X. There's like a $5,000 price difference between both of the trucks, and so with that price difference, right, a lot of people are going to go for the Chevy just because it's less expensive and you're getting basically the same vehicle, just slightly different interior and exterior styling. And another thing to mention with that AT4X, I should just make a dedicated video to this, is they'll probably do the same thing they've done with the Sierra, where it's not as capable off-road in terms of the front end approach angle. So if you look at a GMC Sierra AT4X versus the Silverado ZR2, the ZR2 has a much more aggressively sloped front bumper versus the AT4X. So the ZR2 is actually more capable off-road, and they'll probably do the same thing with the Canyon. And so that'll even push more buyers towards Chevy. So overall, I'm excited for the new Canyon, but it's basically just a polished Colorado. And so I would have to say that the Colorado is probably going to be the one to go for most people. Let me know what you guys think about this new truck, and I'll see you.